Huge breaking news coming in the last couple of minutes regarding Raw is 30 this coming Monday. A major segment, the Bloodline's acknowledgement ceremony, has been scrapped in favor of a new segment called The Trial of Sami Zayn. We've got all the details on that. Plus, AJ Styles is currently out of action with an injury, but prior to his injury, reportedly there were talks for him to possibly appear at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 17 event. Kevin Owens will be facing Solo Sikoa 24 hours before he challenges for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble next week. New commentators for NXT Level Up have been revealed and more entrants have been declared for the Royal Rumble matches. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. It's quite interesting actually because I was trying to prep for the show. I was trying to look around, see what news was going on, and I thought, you know what, I might not do a video this evening because there really wasn't a lot going on. It was quite dry, it was quite quiet, of course. Big events on the horizon, Raw is 30, the Royal Rumble heading into WrestleMania season, some stuff going on in the world of AEW with the revamp and all that kind of stuff, but suddenly a big story breaks regarding Raw is 30, and one of the tentpole segments, one of the biggest segments announced for the show this past Monday has now been cancelled in favor of something else, and possibly it could give an insight as to really what is the plan creatively for WWE as we head into WrestleMania season. So a big change has reportedly been made to Monday's edition of Raw. Now, Mike Johnson at PW Insider is reporting that the Roman Reigns acknowledgement ceremony scheduled for WWE Raw is 30 on January 23 is being changed. Now, obviously, spoilers ahead, but this is everywhere on social media at the moment. According to the report, the acknowledgement ceremony will be replaced with the trial of Sami Zayn. The reported change is due to the fallout from SmackDown, where Reigns was displeased with Sami wanting to be in on his plans regarding Kevin Owens and looking further displeased when Sami was nowhere to be found when Owens attacked Reigns during the contract signing. Now, the acknowledgement ceremony was set to include generations of the Bloodline, including Rikishi, Samu, the Wild Samoans, etc. WWE at the moment, as of the time of this recording, this may change in the next couple of hours or maybe tomorrow prior to Raw, but certainly as of right now, WWE has not confirmed the change, but don't be shocked if this is announced either later tonight, early tomorrow, because they've got to get some kind of build-up, some kind of lead-in to Raw is 30 on Monday. Not that it matters. People are going to tune in to watch that show in droves anyway. Nevertheless, it's a big change. It's certainly a massive change. And as I mentioned, it was set to include all generations of the Bloodline, including Afa and Sika of the Wild Samoans, Rikishi, Samu appearing. A lot of people had thought, myself included, when they announced this past Monday night on Raw, because it was actually announced by the Usos in the opening segment of the show, generally the highest watched segment of the show, so it was certainly a big event or a big segment they had planned for next week's show. A lot of people, myself included, thought this was going to be when The Rock made his return to WWE, right? An acknowledgement ceremony. They stressed every generation of the Bloodline was going to be there, and everyone went, well, every generation of the Bloodline, that sounds like a cue for The Rock to return. And WWE even has been teasing The Rock kind of on social media, even as recently as yesterday, with here are The Rock's 10 best moments at the Royal Rumble, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people thought, wow, it's going to be a situation where everyone's there, all members of the Bloodline are there, and then who's the last person that isn't there? The Rock. He shows up and says, well, if you wanted everyone from the Bloodline, you've got to include me, and that's when they plant the seeds for WrestleMania, or they plant the seeds for The Rock being in the Rumble, or they do something like that. However, of course, it was then reported by Dave Meltzer yesterday, in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that Dwayne Johnson had essentially indicated to WWE that he felt he didn't have enough time, he didn't have adequate enough time to prepare physically for a WrestleMania main event level match, which certainly people thought was quite curious, considering you look at The Rock and you say, well, this guy's in fantastic shape. Granted, big difference between physically being in shape, being jacked, and being in ring shape, but there's still plenty of time to go. There's 4 months between now and WrestleMania. You're telling me The Rock, given the shape that he's currently in, can't get into ring shape in 4 months' time? I doubt that. How long does he need? In addition to that, this has clearly been the direction for what? The last 14 plus months? Everyone's been saying it's going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Clearly, that's been WWE's direction. There's no way that Dwayne Johnson was caught cold by this. You're telling me The Rock had no idea he was going to be asked to wrestle a match at WrestleMania? Oh, I just don't have enough time. If you'd have given me more notice, I'd have been able to get in shape. Come on. So when that report did come out, some people said, well, maybe it's just The Rock being The Rock, and again, something comes up in the schedule, or he doesn't want to do it, whatever, he's got other pressing concerns, that's fine. Or some people led to the other side of it saying, it sounds like a bluff, it sounds like a red herring, it sounds like misinformation being fed to Dave Meltzer by WWE, and if anything, that made people double down even more that The Rock was going to be there Monday. They said, no, they announced on Raw on Monday there was going to be this acknowledgement ceremony. Now this story comes out about The Rock. He's definitely going to be there. It's WWE trying to throw us off the scent. Expect him to be there. He's going to be there. But now, the fact that and again, this hasn't been officially announced just yet, but the fact that they're changing creative plans and they're moving away from this segment, clearly it would appear they're no longer bringing in these several generations of the bloodline. That feels significant. Maybe Dave Meltzer's report is indeed accurate. Maybe he had spoken a lot about this deadline, hadn't he, Dave Meltzer, that essentially there was a deadline for The Rock to answer to whether or not he would participate in WrestleMania, and that deadline would be very close to the Royal Rumble, maybe a week before it, maybe days before it, but there would be a deadline, and if The Rock said yes, they would obviously go ahead in the direction of Roman Reigns versus The Rock. If he said no, they would have to go in a different direction. And maybe it's a case of, as of a week ago, they felt like he would say yes, or the indications were that he was going to do it. And maybe something has changed in the last couple of days and they've decided, okay, well, he's not going to do it. We need to go in a different direction. And maybe they had planned for the Bloodline to turn on Sami Zayn at another time, maybe prior to the Royal Rumble on SmackDown on Friday. But now The Rock's not going to be involved. Now The Rock's not going to be challenging Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Maybe they decided, look, it's our biggest storyline right now. The Bloodline, Roman Reigns is our biggest draw. This is most likely going to be the highest rated, highest viewed show of the year. Anniversary shows always do very well. So given it's on the biggest show of the year, it's the most viewed show of the year, yet let's do our biggest angle. And as of right now, unless something big else happens later this year, which is entirely possible, but given that the viewership most likely isn't going to be this large at any other point of the year, let's do the segment. Let's make a Raw moment. Let's do the moment where the Bloodline finally turns on Sami Zayn. They beat the hell out of him. He's written off of television for several weeks. He comes back prior to Elimination Chamber. Then we have Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber in the main event for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, which of course is Sami Zayn's hometown. That feels like that's the direction they're going in. And as I mentioned, it does kind of feel like it's an indication as to where WWE is going when it comes to WrestleMania plans and them not having The Rock. Now, as I mentioned, Raw is 30 is being stacked up to be a massive show. There's big matches have been announced. Legends have also been announced. Earlier today, it was also reported via PW Insider, they've had a busy day, that WWE Hall of Famer Lita would be appearing on the show. However, she's not the only WWE Hall of Famer that PW Insider has confirmed to be a part of the show. Now PW Insider is also reporting that two-time WWE Hall of Famer Booker T is set to be part of Raw's 30th anniversary in Philadelphia. So just to confirm this, the so far confirmed list of WWE legends appearing on the show is as follows. The Undertaker, and it appears that it's not the dead man version of The Undertaker, it's this post-retirement version of The Undertaker, the Hall of Fame version of The Undertaker, this Mark Calloway. It's The Undertaker, but it's Mark Calloway seemingly is going to be on Raw, particularly with the graphic that they used yesterday with, again, this sort of post-dead man version of him. So The Undertaker's going to be there, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Kurt Angle, Jerry the King Lawler, Road Dogg, X-Pac, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Teddy Long, Ron Simmons, Rikishi, but not in the acknowledgement ceremony, I guess. Diamond Dallas Page is also going to be there, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, Mike Rotunda, IRS, certainly interesting. We're going to see a Bray Wyatt appearance and possibly a Bo Dallas appearance as well. That would be absolutely fascinating. Alundra Blaze, The Godfather, and now Booker T. Curious, though, by their now absence, considering they were at one point advertised and now seemingly are no longer advertised, is the Bella Twins. The Bella Twins, who were previously advertised on a past graphic, were not featured on the one displayed during SmackDown on January 20, which is interesting because, again, when WWE has done these big sort of reunion kind of shows in the past, people do appear on the graphic and then drop off as it gets closer and they don't appear on the show. That has happened before. Sometimes it's a miscommunication. Sometimes it's an assumption that the booking is going to happen and it doesn't happen. So the Bella Twins might not be appearing on the show. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Although it could just be a situation where they don't want to spoil it, that they are going to be there, even though it's out there. They're going to be there. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. Now, one person who probably most likely isn't going to be there is a current All Elite Wrestling star and former AEW World Champion Chris Jericho. But he has commented on WWE using footage from his time with the company in their Raw 30 clip package. After Chris Jericho was featured in a video package to hype not only the history of WWE's flagship Monday night show, but also the upcoming anniversary, the AEW star has responding to the video version posted to Twitter featuring the Ocho during his time with the company. Jericho expressed some warm regard for his time in the company. Jericho wrote on Twitter, quotes, "Pro wrestling transcends any given company. Pro wrestling is about memories, and this video contains some legendary ones. Hashtag WWE Raw." While Jericho may currently be signed to AEW, it doesn't mean his legendary contributions to professional wrestling have slowed down. Jericho has utilized the opportunity to put over younger stars within his recent storyline after losing the Ring of Honor World Championship to Claudio Castagnoli, including Action Andretti and Ricky Starks. Again, people read into this. Jericho, what's this mean? Jericho's not going anywhere. Signed a long-term contract of AEW that hasn't even come into effect yet. I don't believe it might come into effect actually this year, so don't quote me on that. But he's with AEW for a long time. Technically, Jericho's appeared on WWE programming twice since he even signed with AEW. Once on the Broken Skull Sessions around the time of WrestleMania, was it 37? I think it was 37. Yes. WrestleMania 37, he appeared on the Broken Skull Sessions with Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was on the WWE Network. But of course, last year, he actually appeared on Raw, not physically in person, but via a video message, celebrating the anniversary of John Cena in WWE, one of course Jericho's great rivals during his time there. So Jericho maybe could appear in a video package, certainly. I mean, he is technically on the video package. I'm sure he'll be in the opening of Raw, his debut, one of the great moments in WWE history. Whether or not he'll actually appear via a video message like he did for Cena, that's entirely possible. So don't be surprised, really, if you see that, and possibly some other AEW stars. Paul White could be another possibility too. Switching gears, let's talk about AJ Styles, a Raw superstar, of course. Now, AJ Styles has been sidelined with a broken ankle, but there were rumors prior to his injury that he could have appeared at Wrestle Kingdom 17 with Carl Lanson, of course, who did appear at the event, dropping the Never Openweight Championship at the show. Now, Fightful Select, Sean Ross Sapp is reporting that Styles, of course, was not present, but Doc Gallows also didn't make the trip, which Fightful have been told was a New Japan Pro Wrestling call, i.e., if Gallows wanted to appear on the show or appear alongside Anderson, that could have happened. WWE would have likely facilitated it. However, there were, again, according to Fightful, some talks about AJ Styles coming over. Rocky Romero has told Fightful's Wrestling Perspective podcast that AJ Styles himself thought it would be a cool idea, given his history with the company, being a former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Romero said he believed if it was up to Styles, he might have been there. It ended up being a moot point anyway, as Styles broke his ankle the week before and hasn't traveled or been on WWE TV since. That ended all of the possibilities. Romero made sure to specify that there were never any official plans for it to happen, but there were some informal talks, informal chatter about the possibility of Styles appearing. And I think, again, who knows what could have been? We're now in the world of hypotheticals, so we just don't know. But it would have been fascinating to see the OC show up there. I mean, it was a historic show for several reasons. One being that, from my recollection, it's the only show in professional wrestling history to feature wrestlers from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Stardom, All Elite Wrestling, and WWE all on the same show. Talk about a supercard. So it'd have been even bigger if AJ Styles and Doc Gallows, Luke Gallows, whatever you want to call him, would have appeared there. But of course, it didn't happen. Styles is injured, and we still don't have any kind of timeline on his recovery. Chances are he's going to miss WrestleMania. We don't know the severity of the ankle break, so we'll have to wait and see. One match has been announced for next week's edition of SmackDown. Of course, we're now on the road to the Royal Rumble, taking place a week today. But a big match has just been added to next week's SmackDown, which could have major implications for the Rumble itself. Announced on WWE's Twitter account as breaking news, Kevin Owens will face off against Solo Sikoa on next week's show. Yes, the SmackDown, that is, the night before the Royal Rumble, which will see Kevin Owens challenging Roman Reigns for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. Solo Sikoa joined the Bloodline after appearing at Clash at the Castle, after which he has been referred to as the enforcer of the Bloodline. Kevin Owens, of course, has been white hot with the crowd in his most recent feud with the Bloodline, which of course includes his former best friend Sami Zayn. On last night's edition of SmackDown, ahead of their planned contract signing, Owens had a surprise for the Bloodline, rushing to the ring to take out first Solo Sikoa before moving on to the Tribal Chief himself. KO delivered a stunner and then a powerbomb through a table on Roman Reigns. He still managed to escape through the crowd before Honorary Sami Zayn and the Usos ran out for the save just a little bit too late, and because of that, that's why we're getting the trial of Sami Zayn this coming Monday at Raw is 30. A bit of NXT Level Up news. We don't often talk about NXT Level Up because there's not often too much to talk about. But last week, NXT announcer Sudu Shah announced his departure from the company. Sudu had been providing commentary on NXT's Level Up show, originally alongside Nigel McGuinness and later alongside Byron Saxton following McGuinness's WWE departure. Last week's Level Up show was taped prior to the January 10 episode of NXT and was Sudu's last show on commentary. Last night's January 20 episode of the show was the first show taped following Sudu's departure, with his replacement alongside Saxton being revealed. Matt Camp, who serves as one of the hosts of WWE's The Bump alongside Kayla Braxton and Ryan Popola, replaced Sudu on commentary. Camp's occasionally announced for Level Up alongside Shah and Saxton prior to Shah's departure, but it seems he will now be Saxton's permanent partner going forward. Last night's episode of the show featured Joe Gacy defeating Odyssey Jones, Nikita Lyons defeating Jakara Jackson, and Damon Kemp defeating Tank Ledger. So there you go, Matt Camp is going to be the permanent commentator, I guess, moving forward on that show. Finally, more entrants have been announced for the respective Royal Rumble matches next week. A total of 4 individuals were added to the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches on Friday. Prior to Friday's SmackDown, both Drew McIntyre and Sheamus declared for the men's Rumble match. Of course, McIntyre won the 2020 match and Sheamus took the 2012 incarnation of the match. During the actual SmackDown broadcast itself, Braun Strowman declared for the men's bout. Strowman won the 2018 Greatest Royal Rumble match in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. For the women's bout, Shayna Baszler declared her entry during a vignette on Friday's SmackDown. She was the runner-up of the 2020 women's bout. The current card for the 2023 Royal Rumble taking place at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas includes the following. Of course, the men's Rumble match, the women's Rumble match, the Undisputed Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, the Raw Women's Championship match between Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss, and the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. But there you go, guys. That's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on these new WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.